What is up, everybody? Bob here from Prospect Analytics. Today, we're going to look at my 10 best Bowman buys under $20. Now, for those of you who don't know, over on the site, www.prospect-analytics.com, during the offseason, I do what I call team buy sheets. And what those are is I look at every prospect with a first Bowman autograph, both hitters and pitchers. I give my ranking of them, and then I give them a buy rating out of 5, letting you know which players from each team to stash. Now, we have seen some big gains this year. I actually tweeted out about it yesterday. There are 16 different players that I labeled as a buy this offseason whose base autograph is up $25 or more. On the flip side, there's not a single player that I named as a buy whose base autograph is down $25 or more. But I want to make this video to show you kind of the sweet spot that I like to attack when it comes to buying in Bowman. Now, anybody can sit there and tell you, buy Konnor Griffin, buy Kevin McGonigle. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of people who are getting into Bowman don't have $600 to spend on a base autograph. Konnor Griffin's base autograph was close to $800 when he made his debut. And while other people will tell you, you got to buy this guy, he's a top 10 prospect. Our bread and butter is actually kind of going down, doing the deep dives. I find the guys that are $20, $10, even $5, some of these guys on this list. There were players on my team buy sheets that had $1 base autographs that I said, listen, there's a reason he's $1. He's not a huge name, but he shouldn't be this low. So, there is no limit to who I will label as a buy. If I think that there's value and the card can go up, I will tell you that it's a good buy. But it's important to know kind of how you buy when it comes to players down this low. It's fine to buy base autographs, but obviously if a player has a $5 base autograph and it gets to 10, you're not doing all of this work for a $5 gain. You're not shipping and handling and paying taxes and fees to try to make a couple of bucks. So I always like to explain to people, when you get down into these cheaper guys, you have to think kind of in color multipliers. Like if I say a guy could go from $5 to $10, it's not because I'm trying to make a couple dollars. It's because you could find a $100 gold autograph that could become a $200 gold autograph. So a lot of people will go up to those higher names, like I said, the McGonigles, the Eli Willits, and buy their base autograph at a couple $100, which is totally fine because those guys do go up. But I found that it's more fun to go down into this range where guys are $5, $10. You can get golds, oranges, reds of some of these guys for about the same price as a base autograph of a top prospect. And then when these kind of what we call no-namers pop, the gains that you see on this deep color are really fun. I actually have more fun buying autographs of players under $20 than I do of the big names. So a lot of my site and finding value in the Bowman market is built around kind of these sleeper Bowman names that people haven't really caught on to yet. And throughout the year, I will do lists of my favorite prospects with a Bowman autograph who are under $20. But for this one, I'm just going to show you a review to kind of give you an idea, because I know a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to buy this guy because, he plays for this team and he's this position. And there is a lot of that in the Bowman market, but that doesn't mean that their cards can't go up. So I'm going to show you some examples. These are the 10 players that I labeled as a buy. I gave either a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5 to on my offseason team buy sheets that are up the most money percentage-wise this season, just to kind of show you that you don't have to buy the big names to make money in Bowman. These were some of our biggest winners so far this season. Starting off with number 10, which is Texas Rangers two-way prospect Josh Owens. This was a fun one for me. His base autograph on my buy sheet was $13. It is now $33 on average. He's up about 153%. Obviously, you have some color. You're getting more than that. $20, but even $20 on a base autograph this cheap is pretty solid. Now, when I did my 2025 Bowman draft preview, I do previews of all of the new releases that come out and tell you which players I would chase. Josh Owens was a top 15 chase in that product for me. And the reason was pretty simple. He's a big frame, teenage, two-way player. He has plus power at the plate. He pitches, and the Rangers have shown that they're going to give him every chance to continue to try to develop on both sides. This obviously creates a massive hobby ceiling. You see the way that Sung-Jung Kim sold in 2026 Bowman. You saw how Shotaro Mori sold in 25 Chrome. Obviously, those guys have the international aspect, but I was fascinated by the fact that the Rangers were going to let Josh Owens try to develop as a two-way player. And I actually did an article a couple of weeks after 2025 draft came out of, these are where these guys are selling. These are where I have them ranked. Here's who has the biggest discrepancy. And Josh Owens was huge. He was priced as like the 40th or 50th best prospect in draft. I had him at 15th. I said, as with many prospects, you got to shoot for the ceiling when you get out into this under $20. His ceiling as a two-way player, that was the whole thought process behind this, is that, if he comes out this year and does both well, people are going to get excited. That's what's happened. He has, I think, a 1.42 ERA on the mound. He's also batting .315. Now, he is in the complex league. There's some strikeout and approach concerns. So I'm not, saying that this is a win yet, but again, you can sell these cards whenever you want. You don't have to hold these things. You bought these cards. You're now up 150 53%. That's not bad for a few months. So Josh Owens was a fun one to watch so far this year for me. Number 9, here's a big name in Chase Harlan of the Dodgers. I was a big fan of Harlan. I actually was on a podcast this offseason and I was asked about some Dodgers prospects, and they said, oh, there's Sirota and there's DePaula and there's Hope and there's all these guys, who are you buying? And I said, if you're looking for value, I mean, all those guys are obviously up in the $50, $100 range. You're looking for the best value on the Dodgers, the best chance to, see your money go up exponentially. It's 100% Chase Harlan. Now, what I didn't know is that Chase Harlan would look so improved so quickly. He's always been a big power bat, but the improvements to the approach and the contact this year have been massive. He's still just 19 years old. Everything is trending in the right direction. His power is way up. His ISO is up like 60 points from last year. He's already hit more home runs this year than he hit all of last year. His walks are up. His strikeouts are down. His average is up. His contact is up. Literally every improvement that you would like to see from a young hitter, Chase Harlan has made. He's been a huge riser on my list. I can't believe that we were getting his base autographed under $20 this offseason. It is now up at $45 on average. His cards are up 164.7%. I had a true gold auto of his. Obviously, when you get up into that color and it multiplies just like the base autos do, that's when you can kind of have fun with these under $20 guys. But Chase Harlan, another big winner for the team buy sheets this offseason. Into number 8, and that's Devin Fitzgerald of the Nationals, another player who's gotten a lot of public love in prospect outlets. He looked great in his debut, but it was cut short by injury. We weren't sure where the Nationals were going to assign him, but they put him in high A to start the year, which was kind of a nice, boost of confidence. It's always a good sign when a team believes enough in a guy to assign him, to somewhat of an advanced level based on where he played last year, especially given the injury concern. And he came out in high A and just lit the world on fire. 133 WRC plus there. He had 12 home runs and 11 stolen bases in 51 games. Strikeout rate under 18%. His ISO was 262. That shot him up some prospect lists. I can tell you that he is now inside my top 20 for non-debuted hitters for my Bowman prospect rankings. He has scuffled a bit since the raise up to AA, but again, he's only 20 years old playing in AA. He's in a very advanced level, so I think you have to be patient. If anything, the prices start to come down because people are watching him struggle. Might be a good time to buy because I do believe in Devin Fitzgerald, but he is another one that I was buying this offseason at $14. That average base autograph as of today is $39. So Devin Fitzgerald coming in at number 8. His cards are up 178.6% since this spring. Going in at number 7, this one is near and dear to my heart. Nathan Flewelling, he was a 5 out of 5 perfect rated buy for me. He was one of the prospects that I probably had the most money invested in going into this season. He was one of those players who I don't think his debut season got enough respect. Now, he was 18 all of last year. He was 17 when he was drafted by the Rays out of Canada. Not a lot of information on him when he was drafted. We knew that he had like the 3rd highest exit velo at the combine, but other than that, there was very limited data on Flewelling when the Rays took him. And despite the fact that he was 17 when he was drafted, the Rays stuck him straight into single A, skipping the complex league in his debut season. And immediately that went off in my head as, the Rays are a team that I respect when it comes to prospect development. If they take a kid that seems like no one really knows who he is, they sign him. They took him 3rd round over where most people had him projected. They gave him full slot. He skips the complex league. All of these things are leading towards, the Rays really like this kid. He comes out in his debut season last year and he was solid. He hit 230, which I think a lot of people weren't that impressed by. 127 WRC plus though, because he had a 20% walk rate. If you want to know how rare that kind of plate discipline is for a kid his age, if you look on Fangraphs, you can sort minor league data back to 2006. If you look at 18-year-old or younger prospects who had 300 plus plate appearances above the rookie levels in a season, there's only one result that pops up if you look for walk rates over 20%, and it was 2025 Nathan Flewelling. Now, the ISO was low. He had a 111 ISO. He only hit 6 home runs all year, but again, 18 in single A. He also saw some time in high A. And then he comes in this offseason and you see these reports, there were stories on Twitter, Nathan Flewelling just had the best batting practice round of any Rays prospect. He's hitting balls off the batter's eye. Then I went back and looked at his 2025 numbers, obviously with that high walk rate, extremely low swing rate. And I made this crazy comparison in the offseason, not so much a comparison, but something that it reminded me of. And that's that Roman Anthony was a prospect that I probably made the most money on when I first started doing this. And what happened with Roman Anthony is that he came up 18, first half of his age 19 season. He wasn't hitting for any power. His pitch selection was extremely good. His swing rate was very low. His swinging strike rate was very low. He was making good contact. He was drawing a lot of walks, but he wasn't swinging at a lot of pitches. And people were kind of like looking at that ISO. He had a 108 ISO and they were like, oh, well, Roman Anthony's not hitting for power. The only problem is that we saw Roman Anthony hit a 450-foot home run at Coors Field in the high school All-American game. which kind of gave me the idea maybe he's working on other things. He's a teenage prospect. Maybe once these swing rates are extremely low, maybe he's, like I said, it could be a pitch selection thing. It could be anything. But once he starts swinging more aggressively, you're going to see that power. That obviously happened. That made Roman Anthony's stock go through the roof. He started dropping bombs. I suggested that maybe at some point in the future, that could happen with Nathan Flewelling, and he rewarded me because it happened immediately. His swing rate is about 7.5% higher than it was last year. Now, he's not walking in 20% of his ABs anymore. It's more like 14, 15, but that power that we knew was there through the roof. He just hit his 13th homer last night. He's more than doubled his total from last year. His ISO is over 200, and he's a 19-year-old in high A, which is extremely advanced for the level he's at. I love Nathan Flewelling. He was one of my biggest buys, so it's great to see him make this list. He was a $12 base autograph. I gave him a perfect 5 out of 5. His first autograph is now $34 on average and probably still going to go up, and that puts him at a 183.3% gain over the last few months. Into number 6, I love to see this. This is Cole Carrig of the Colorado Rockies. He was a buy on my 2025 Rocky sheet. He was a buy on my 2026 Rocky sheet. He's one of those players. He came into minor league baseball, and his first year after being drafted, he played 3 positions. They were catcher, shortstop, and center field. That's just not a trio you see. Phenomenal athlete, really good power, really good speed, play with your hair on fire type guy. I always said that it's a shame that he didn't get more love in the Bowman market because he was personally, for me, one of my favorite prospects to watch play baseball. He is just absolutely electric. I kept putting him as a buy because I was like, if he gets up to the MLB and he's this exciting, I don't know how his cards don't do more. That's exactly what happened. He was a $10 base autograph this offseason. I said that I would buy him again. This is the 3rd year in a row that I've been waiting for this price increase. Obviously, he starts mashing the ball in AAA. His card prices go up. He gets called up by the Colorado Rockies, triple in his first game. He's hit a couple go-ahead home runs. He is as electric as I had hoped when he was a minor leaguer. His base autograph is now $30 and up, and he is up 200% on the year. So that is something that we love to see out of an underrated prospect in Cole Carrig of the Colorado Rockies. Number 5 is going to be Tatum Gray of the Tampa Bay Rays, another one who was on that sheet with Flewelling. Kind of a similar idea. Obviously, I said Flewelling was from Canada. There wasn't a lot of data on him. Tatum Gray was from Iowa, not exactly the hotbed for prep baseball talent, but he's a switch hitter. He was a catcher. He's listed as a catcher. He plays a little bit of first base. They can probably move him to the corner outfield. He's athletic enough to play there. I don't think that they will stick him behind the plate because the bat's just too good. He's a switch hitter. His power is incredible. And my scouting report for him this offseason was, like I said, similar to Nathan Flewelling, is that he's not getting a lot of buzz. It doesn't seem like people are talking about him. He's not ranked on any prospect lists, but the Rays like him. And sometimes if the Rays like you, that's enough for me. Very few MLB teams find talent and develop talent as well as the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, Gray has missed some games, so his price has actually ticked back down a couple dollars, but he was $12 this offseason, and as of today, he's $41 on average. He's had one of the best debuts that we've seen from prep bats in the 2025 draft class, so he was another big win for us on the team buy sheets. His cards are up 241.7% in the last couple of months. And number 4, there's just not enough things that I can say. Uniker Caceres of the Cleveland Guardians. Everybody who knows me knows that there's not a name on this list that I love to see more. When I did my way back in 2025, when I did my team buy sheets prior to that season for the Cincinnati Reds, I said of Sal Stewart at the time that my buy ratings only go to 5, but if I could make somebody a 6, it would be Sal Stewart. Obviously, that worked out. This offseason, I said that about Uniker Caceres. I said Uniker Caceres at $17 is a 5 out of 5. If I could give him a 6, I would. One of my favorite prospects, one of the most polished bat-to-ball hitters that we've seen at age 18 since, I would argue, Wander Franco. I think that, obviously, that's a name like Voldemort. You don't want to say it. But he was a consensus #1 prospect in baseball for 2 years. His bat-to-ball skills, you go back, look at the swinging strike percentage, the walk-to-strikeout ratio for his age at the levels he was at, incredible. Caceres, very similar stats. He's an 18-year-old still in single A. Obviously, the question with him was going to be the power. I think a lot of people just assume this was your typical Guardians prospect. Good contact, no power. They have a ton of those in their farm. But it's been different for Caceres this year. Again, he made it to single A at 17 last year. He's there again this year. He has 6 home runs in his first 40 games. That's a 187 ISO, more walks than strikeouts. He has a 10.3% strikeout rate. He's running an 88.1% contact rate. His swinging strike percentage is 5.2%. He is an incredible hitter. He is one of my favorite hitters to watch in baseball. And I said of him this offseason, maybe he doesn't grow into power, But that's kind of something that held back people on Kevin McGonigle early when he first got his cards, was that, well, he's this great hitter, but if he doesn't have power, his cards aren't going to sell. Well, he found some power, right? He had a 20 home run season in the minor leagues. That kind of jump started him into being that top 2, top 3 prospect talk. I said of Uniker Caceres, maybe he doesn't ever find power and he's a Sam Antonacci, which we have now found out is also a profile that people will buy, but maybe he finds some power, his cards go through the roof. That was kind of the hope. But as I said, he has one of these safer floors under $20. You can't find 18-year-old prospects with as good of bat to ball skills as Uniker Caceres for that cheap, which is why I was kind of all in on him. Obviously, the power has popped this year. He has been as advertised. His $17 base autograph is up to $62, which is a gain of 264.7%. So anybody who bought in some deep color after reading that article is sitting pretty good right now. And I think it's only a matter of time before Uniker Caceres starts getting some more public love that he very much so deserves. Number 3 is going to be our third Tampa Bay Ray on the list in Cooper Fleming. What's so funny is when 2025 Bowman draft came out, Brendan Summerhill and Daniel Pierce did not make it into the product, and those were the 2 names in that draft class that I think most people liked for the Rays. For this reason, the Rays became a bottom half team in PYT breaks. I can remember seeing them $70, $80 for a full case, and that was because people wanted Daniel Pierce. He wasn't in it. What they did have was Cooper Fleming and Titan Gray, who at the time were not names people were after, and yet here they are, both in my top 5 for biggest gains under $20 this offseason. I liked Cooper Fleming as a buy. He was $7. His base autograph is now up to $27. That's a 285.7% gain since the start of this season. Former two-way player in high school, but he is not pitching for the Rays. He will play primarily shortstop. This is a profile that they've had a lot of success with in the past. I thought that he could kind of be a good long-term hold. I didn't really expect him to pop this early, but his stock is up. People love Cooper Fleming. And it kind of just begs the question, now that we see Fleming, we saw Gray, we saw Flewelling, I guess when in doubt, buy a Rays prospect under $20. They seem to know what they're doing. Number 2 on the list, one of my favorite names on here, Cooper Ingle. Cooper Ingle is the prime example of why I don't discriminate when it comes to Bowman. Everyone would have told you this offseason, this is a 24-year-old undersized catcher that plays for the Guardians. That's about every Bowman strike that you can get. Below average power, not a collectible franchise. The worst position when it comes to Bowman people, old for being a non-debuted prospect. Everyone would have said this is exactly the type of player whose cards can't go up. Well, joke's on them. I had him as a buy at $9. His base autograph was selling for $40 as of yesterday. He has been called up to make his major league debut, so that wasn't even factored in. He may have even gone up a couple dollars since then, but he's a player I've always been high on. He's extremely slept on, always had a fantastic approach, was such a great bat to ball hitter, but as a 5'8" catcher, he kind of got slept on. Then this year he comes in and the power just pops. Last year, Ingle had 10 home runs in over 500 plate appearances. This year, he hit 12 of them in 221 plate appearances. His ISO went up over 100 points. This is exactly what you're hoping for when you buy prospects with really good bat-to-ball skills, is that one year they show up and they're just launching baseballs. That is what Cooper Ingle did this year. He's been deserving of being called up to the MLB since earlier this season. Unfortunately, he got hurt, went on the IL, then the Guardians traded for Patrick Bailey, kind of blocked him a little bit. So it's been a little back and forth, but he's been very deserving. In the meantime, we have seen his base autograph price climb 344.4%. This is exactly what I talk about with the color. Buying a $9 autograph that's $40 now, that's still fun. Even if, people will tell you, that it's not worth buying a $9 autograph. A $31 gain on a base autograph is fun. But imagine if you had color. Imagine if you had gold, you had orange. Those are cards that were probably only a couple $100 entering this season, and you would see some pretty good gains if you had bought some of those. So love to see Cooper Ingle make the list as he kind of bucks that trend. That's what makes him probably my favorite person on here. Everyone would tell you to stay away from this type of prospect, but when they zig, I zag. If you're undervalued, then you're undervalued, and I believe that your price can go up. Cooper Ingle, one of the prime examples this season. And number 1 on the list, another Cleveland Guardians prospect, our third Guardians prospect in the top 4. That's Robert Arias. He's another player that I had quite a few cards of. I stacked a lot of his stuff. $7 base autograph. Today, that is $34. He's up 385.7%. As you can see, this is 10 guys with a base autograph under $20 that are up at least 150%. If you're buying color, this is like huge money in a couple of months. If you're buying these golds, you're buying these even even blues for some of these guys. And they're not the typical prospect names that everybody is going to feed you and tell you have a chance to go up, because honestly, a lot of people don't look outside of the top 100 prospects. As I said, that's kind of like the bread and butter of what we do. Finding undervalued prospects, these guys who are $5, $10 that can get to 30 is kind of like the wheelhouse here. So this is a great one to see. Now he's another one, like I said, with Caceres, everyone just kind of assumes that all these Guardians prospects have good hit tools, below average power. Arias I'm lower on than Caceres, but I do like him. Last year as an 18-year-old in the complex league, more walks than strikeouts, 29 stolen bases. So really good bat to ball hitter, really good speed. You just kind of hope that power can tick up enough to kind of get some love in the Bowman game. It has this year. His ISO has gone up from 116 to 171. He's hit 5 homers in the same amount of plate appearances that he hit 2 in last year. He had some ridiculous on-base streak that was like 30 or 40 games or something like that. Just things that can happen when you're as good of a hitter as a lot of these Guardians are. So Robert Arias, we love to see making that huge jump. So that makes in our top 10, 3 Rays, 3 Guardians, which is funny to me because people will always tell you when it comes to prospects, like they don't play for a fun franchise. You got to look at Red Sox prospects. You got to look at Yankees prospects. It's not true. Are these prospects slept on? Absolutely. But if they perform at the level that some of these guys are performing at, their cards will go up. Now, obviously, when you get to the Yankees, Red Sox guys, it's more like you're buying a guy at 50 and hoping he goes to 100. But as I said, you're buying some deep color. These Guardians, these Rays guys, they go up 300% in a season when they're hot. Look at Theo Gillen. Theo Gillen was a 5 out of 5 rated buy for me. He obviously didn't make this list because he was over $20. His base autograph's up $70+ right now as he just got moved up to AA. Don't let anyone tell you that a player is too cheap to be worth buying, or that he's too old, or that he doesn't have power, or that he doesn't play for an exciting team, because I will find you value in those types of players. I will find you value on players with base autographs under $20, under $10, sometimes even under $5. And as the season goes on, I will continue to make updated lists of the best players to buy under $20. I can tell you that last year, this was a huge list. About this time last year, I did a best prospects to buy under $20. There are some names that went nuclear after I wrote it. Joshua Baez of the Cardinals is on that. He's now over $100. Caleb Bonemer of the White Sox was on it. He's now up around $100 as well. So don't be scared by these under $20 guys. If you can pick the right ones, they have a chance to pop. I will do an updated article sometime within the next couple of weeks of the best hitting prospects under $20 to buy, and we'll see if lightning can't strike twice for us this season. So make sure you go over to www.prospect-analytics.com, sign up for your free 7-day trial, check out the updated prospect rankings, weekly hot sheets, the daily Bowman brew, which gives you a prospect leaderboard every single morning from the day prior stats. And again, just bringing you everything that I can to make more informed buyers in the Bowman market and help everybody make money on prospects. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time.